Like these dudes are standing so close to each other. I'm there with the wife. Mariah's like, it looked like these guys were like so close to each other they were about to kiss.
Hey, what's going on, you broke motherfuckers?
Let's get fucking big!
Man, being back here in Fayetteville, hitting the gym. I don't know if it's just because I've been gone for a little while, but it feels like the gym bros have gotten worse. I don't know if that's the same down there in Florida. I don't think it's infected Maryland where I'm at yet, but like these dudes are standing so close to each other. I'm there with the wife. Mariah's like, it looked like these guys were like so close to each other they were about to kiss. They give you like absolutely zero space, and they don't even act like they own the place because they know they don't own the place. It's obvious they don't own the place, but they're just so close to you. I don't know if it's like the anti-COVID, if things are just getting worse and crazier, or what. It's kind of, I don't know. It's just kind of gross how close people get and act like there's no personal space, there's no gym etiquette, nothing. Are you
Yeah.
having that thing go on?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of in Tampa, for instance, it's kind of always been like that, but without the sex, meaning that gay stuff you just said, but getting so close to each other, it's always kind of been like that, but respectful. But yes, to answer the question, yeah, I noticed that for some reason, not that there was never a lot of people before, right? But now it's just packed full of wannabes. I mean, and that's just, I'm just being real. Like you see the normal people, the main people that you used to see in there, and it's the usual pack, but then you got a whole bunch of people that aren't doing shit in there and just taking up space. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but that's what's going on here. But not really disrespectful or anything like that. It's just ridiculously packed, and then basically it just takes too much time up. So that's why mainly we train either because we have a home gym, and then we shorten the time, that way we can at least get some shit done. But yeah, either way, what about you? Do you still, is it like that, just more?
Well, I've used the home gym a little bit because we've had a couple snow days. Living on post and stuff like that is just easier to use one of the on post gyms and things. Um, but no, it's downright to the point to where it's just in personal space invasion. It feels disrespectful. I mean, shoot, I've had to go to therapy just because I don't like how close people get to me, and I've had to say things, and like, they bring up the whole, oh, your PTSD's got you angry, and I'm just like,
Hold
I don't
on.
even PTSD or just wanting a little bit of space. I don't know, but
Wait, who's
um,
saying that? Like people you don't know is saying that, making like cracking jokes back about it, or people you
no,
know?
no, this is like my therapist saying that, like, hey,
Oh,
you're getting angry because of your deployment experiences and things like that, where people are getting too close to you. It's a security feeling for you and things like that, and it's just like, I don't even know if it's sad. It's just give me room to do some work here, because I mean, my workouts, I still do the building style workouts, but I still like to keep it a little unconventional and still, do some extra things where I'm jumping around, doing jumping lunges, doing jump rope. And I try to like move into areas to where I'm not going to be in anybody else's way and other people aren't even working. And it seems like people just kind of look at it like, you know what? He's doing something good there. I got to put it into this. And I'm just going to go have a cell phone conversation right where this guy's working and starts texting and going crazy and doing all this type of stuff. And it's like, ah, trying to keep myself under control and be a nicer person and
well,
just, you know what? They don't know what they're doing. They don't know any better. Just say a couple woo saws or something and try to keep it cool.
yeah, okay. Well, before I ask this next question, let me add this in there. Well, first of all, just by what you're saying, it sounds It sounds like anybody would react that way, to be honest with you. It's just like straight annoyance. It's just annoying. That's what it seems like. So I don't think, I mean, just based off of what you said, I know therapists are therapists, but they get paid. But at the end of the day, I think that anybody could just be like that. And there's no PTSD involved. But now I was going to ask you, but you kind of already
Well,
answered it anyway.
VA
Oh, go
that.
ahead. Huh?
Don't tell the VA there's no PTSD involved.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm talking about with that incident. Not, no, of course not. Yeah, I'm sure that your brain is all fucked up. But listen, no, I'm just joking. Look, at the end of the day, it was already fucked up before you joined the army anyway. But listen, no, I'm just kidding. Look, at the end of the day, though,
Crash test.
um, no, I'm just talking about that particular scene. Now, can it trigger PTSD? Of course, anything can trigger PTSD. Hell, a lot of people have it. I have it from different things, but at the end of the day, I was going to ask you, did it cross your mind before the therapist brought it up? Like, did you think that, like, well, maybe that's what it is? Or when they brought it up, you're like, then it hit you. Let's have a therapy session, Jason. Go ahead.
So what I told the therapist, social anxiety, just the fact not like being in public, and it, for the most part, if I'm on my own, it's not a big deal. I can be okay. The gym is what bothers me, but where it really started to get bad was being out anywhere with my family, and like people literally, as I'm sitting there walking with my wife, like walking in between us and things like that, and there's not room to do it, but people are, I mean, I'm talking like the grocery store and things like that.
Yeah,
And
I
people
know.
just by on their phone, like cutting through you. And we're not even like a shoulder's length apart. Now,
Hmm.
granted, I work out, she works out. We got some wide shoulders, but I'm talking like a normal, shoulder width
Yeah.
apart. People just come busting through like,
Man, when you brought that up, absolutely. Like that whole anxiety thing, I think we all have a little bit, everybody, I think everybody has a little bit of anxiety in them. But like when I used to go out, well, because I kind of was able to control it now. So sometimes it still hits, but before those things would happen like that, and and we're not being cocky when we say this, but like, we're big guys and we kind of not demand respect, but it's like if you're going to just do some dumb shit and even if you don't know you're doing it, it's like those little things trigger me. Like when you said somebody just walk through you guys, not even excuse me kind of thing, that shit right there, that's why I never liked to go out because I didn't want to hurt somebody because I don't know. I mean, and I'm being serious because it just little things like that got to me so much. But then after talking and it's like maybe I'm tripping, maybe maybe it's just they didn't mean nothing by it, it is what it is, or whatever. So I had to learn how to control that temper, and I did, but and we stopped going like to grocery stores like that. Usually we'll order Instacart and stuff like that just to avoid and when I say that only because of the way things are going 2026, people are just outrageous. So we just try to avoid that. Now, when we feel like it calms down, then we go out and stuff, especially when odd hours where nobody's there, just to avoid, because we see it, I'm sure you've seen a lot of shit online. People are just acting ridiculous for no reason, and they will be the recipient of an ass whooping if they get in my way. So at the end of the day, and I can tell how you are too. I know you have you know what I mean? Like everybody does, but I can tell that certain things get to you. So I can only imagine when you were walking through the grocery store or at the gym. I know that you were a ticking time bomb. But anyway, go go ahead, go
the
ahead.
crazy thing is, since you bring up the way that things are in 2026, since we're here and, visiting all that type of stuff, my wife is like, "Oh, I want to go to the mall," and it was crazy because she also had her brother that was here visiting. He came up from Florida, just had a baby. We're handing off a bunch of the boys' items and stuff like that because they've
Right.
obviously grown out of it. But she wanted to go to the mall the other day, and we got strapped for time, so she didn't get to go. And apparently, there's supposed to be like one of those teenage takeovers at the mall the same day. We didn't know anything about it. I didn't find out about it until Kate Pate happened to bring it up later on that day. And I'm like, well, shoot, you keep hearing about how violent those things are getting. And, when they do turn crazy and they do turn violent, that, the police show up, late because I don't know, they've got to be ready to do other things and respond to other stuff. And it's not until things get violent that they can show up. But that just kind of made me think about the fact that I'm so glad that we just didn't have the time for her to go that day. Because she would have, dropped me and the kids off at the house and headed out there by herself, and
Mm.
that could have been a bad situation.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. So, now going back real quick to the gym before we move on, when you're in there, you said that you have to make comments. Like, what do you mean? Like, you actually say something to them, like, "Hey, man, can you excuse me?" Or what? Like,
No, I've had to bite my tongue because if I start, I don't stop, and I've done it in the past where I've gotten really rude about things to where I've had to go back later on and be like, you know what, that dude didn't deserve that. Let me go
mm,
back and apologize and be like, hey man, I'm sorry. Um, and then me and that person were cool later on. Never happened again, but I've crossed the line myself a couple times because I let anger get the best of me, to where it's like, hey, I open my mouth and then later on it's like, God, why'd I let myself do that? Why'd I let myself get out of control? I need to go back and apologize and say, hey, you didn't have that coming. Um, and so yeah, I've had to chill out quite a bit because not the type of person I'm trying to be, especially not in 2026. You don't know who's what and who's carrying what. I've had, I'm sure you've had this being somebody who's been big your whole adult life. I was telling the wife this the other day. I've had more people, even complete strangers. The last person to say to me wasn't a complete stranger, but they looked at me and looked me up and down and said, "Man, I wouldn't even fight you. I'd have to just shoot you." And it's like, holy crap, dude! Like, where did that come from? Like, you're just gonna all complete strangers, no conversation before. Like, hey, you look like you've been working out too long and you're too fit that if there's kind of any kind of altercation, I'm just gonna have to shoot you. Like, I don't even get a chance. Like, dang, I've been working out and I've been getting fit and taking care of the muscular strength, endurance, cardiovascular, and I don't even
means
get to fight
nothing.
bad boys out. Like, I just got to get shot.
Yeah, it
Like,
means nothing. No, those people are called cowards, number one. Number two, you are right. I've had that same accusation to me. And what I tell them is, I'm like, oh, well, you got to get to it first. That's what I tell them. So that's the comeback. Even though they're joking around, man, I'd have to shoot you. I'm like, well, you got to get to that first. But yeah, so, just like when someone asks me, how much do you lift? I say this, just like in one of our other videos, I'm like, whatever I want. Cause it's like, dude, we don't power lift to figure out what we lift and shit. So, um, but yeah, speaking of
I'm
that, oh, good.
so you said that you've been working out a lot at the house. We had to scale back our home gym because we moved on post, and the only thing they had available whenever we moved on was like lower enlisted housing. So we had to drastically cut back on stuff that we had. I've got gym equipment that just is sitting outside, not even put together. I've got plates and dumbbells sitting out there that kind of rusting. I bought a shed I'm going to put up on the little back porch patio that they gave us so I can try to protect my stuff. Um, but besides working out at home and not just trying to like lift heavy, lift crazy, is there anything? Because let's be honest, like I'm going to be 44 in August.
Yeah, well, you're still in the youth peak prime. When you hit 50, then you can start talking old, but go ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm getting older,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like back in the day, doing skull crushers and having two 45-pound plates on each side. Be like, what is the point of even lifting this heavy? When am I ever going to need to do that?
Just to show off.
Off in reality, yeah, just to show off, or even being of the mindset like, oh man, like your max is what I'm warming up with, and just those kind of crazy thoughts that we've had before. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, is there? Because I'm going to bring up what I'm doing, and it's nothing like crazy or anything, but just little changes I've made. But are there any changes that you have made to the way that you've been working out? I guess to like avoid injury, prevent injury, just found it to be more effective as time has gone on.
Absolutely. So you brought up skull crushers. I'll just use that as an example. Um, in other words, so maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, I'll actually do um skull crushers, like kind of heavy, like we used to do it all the time. I'll do the exact motion, like everything, right? But then for 3 weeks straight, I will do I'll pull the bench up to inside of the squat rack and because it's got cables and stuff in there. In other words, I'll do cable skull crushers instead, just because of the joints. So I'll do cable skull crushers or what have you, and then sometimes I'll actually take the Smith machine bar and just do skull crushers. I'll warm up with the machine. And then go to the cables, and I get the same exact pump. And the thing is, we're already big, so it's not like we're trying to gain even more. We're just trying to maintain and maybe grow a little bit more, right? But at the end of the day, that sequence I've been doing for a long time now, it just keeps me full. It keeps everything active, and I still have the same strength. Like nothing is depleted, only because over the years we've already put in all that work. So that's a good thing. Now, if somebody was starting from scratch, they couldn't do what I just said. They would have to use free weights. So yes, free weights once every 3 weeks with the skull crushers, but then it's just the Smith machine and that. Now, if we're doing a show or something coming up, or if we decide to do a show together, which we will eventually, then I'll go back to some free weights. And you know what? One time's not going to really destroy the joints or anything, even though we're getting up there, whatever. But yeah, but go ahead. What do you think of that?
Well, I'd say the same thing is going to pertain particularly to arms. Like a lot of the other exercises and muscle groups and stuff, I still incorporate mostly free weights. Um, but I'd say for like the last 2, maybe even 3 months, if maybe not even more, I've stuck primarily with just cable exercises when it comes to arms. And touching free weights very, very seldom. If I do a skull crusher, I probably go no heavier than maybe the 90-pound fixed weight bar, considering I used to do so much more than that for whatever reason. Other probably just ego lifting. Because I was experiencing so much joint pain, especially here in the elbow, to where now it's affecting every single thing, to where I can't do chest properly because
Did
my
it
elbow.
start popping? Did the reason I switched it up is because it started popping. Like I still like Rice Krispies when I started doing skull crushers. I'm like, nah, I got to switch this up. Is that what was happening in
Oh,
the elbow?
crunchy elbows for as long as I can remember, and
Oh,
that
oh,
lifting heavy like that. But it really had to do with the pain right back in here in the elbow, where if I bumped into anything, it was just shooting pain everywhere.
yeah.
Um, and being clumsy like I am, just bumping into everything, like, oh my God, like that hurts so bad. But switching over to doing primarily cables and, really just, you see some people who are just like, focusing so fast on throwing the weight down,
Yeah.
doing extensions, but really making sure, like, okay, am I getting my elbow back past the body as I do that tricep extension, getting a good hold out of it, making sure I get the proper wrist rotation in there and everything. Um, my arms have come out just looking like they got attacked by a swarm of bees, and just feeling so big, so engorged with blood. And I was bringing up to the wife today, like, hey, does it look like I've lost any size in my arms or anything like that? She's like, absolutely not. Like,
No,
your
of course
arms
not.
are looking juicy and all this type of stuff. But she's a wife; she's kind of got to tell me that
Well,
stuff.
I'm telling you that just from camera, but no, and if anything, it looks more defined and bigger. So yeah, I mean, and your forearms look huge. So you haven't lost anything. So no, and that's what I thought too when I switched to the cables and stuff. I thought, man, if I do this, I'm going to lose. I didn't lose shit. If anything, I got bigger. I'm like, what the hell? And I think because of the connection that I was having with the heavy, like I could curl heavy still, right, with the dumbbells, but I wasn't having like, yeah, my body's just so used to doing it. Naturally, I'm just strong to pick those weights up and do it, that I wasn't feeling a connection anymore. So when I switched it up, I think that's a great thing. But yes, I'm still going to lift heavy with free weights, but not as much. And I found that not doing it as much and switching to the cables, now we're growing even more and it's saving our joints. And then I was researching and realized, which we already know these things, but I just wanted to double check that since again, we've already established this girth, meaning if we stopped lifting for 6 months or something, and then we started back up and eating again, all that muscle memory, it just blows right back up anyway. So we might not be, because we're not trying to be the Incredible Hulk right now. We're already big. But what I'm saying is we're not going to lose anything if we just keep doing that. And if anything, we are going to gain centimeters worth of muscle. So yeah, absolutely. Go ahead though. Yeah.
No, I again, I think is a good point, and the fear, when we were young, there was kind of a fear of like machines and cables. Like, yeah, we'll use this stuff to help ourselves get defined and,
Mhm.
do some of our isolation movements and things like that. But even now, like it always had to be, hey, I'm doing either, a dumbbell press or a barbell press or something like that. The machines are, that's for the people who can't really lift or don't know what they're doing or haven't established like real form and stuff like that yet. And just come to realize that the stuff is so effective, because yeah, it might not work, the stabilizers the same, but the isolation and just the ability to save yourself from certain injuries, I think becomes very important. And just not doing what I've done for so long and just been so stubborn, like, no, I have to lift this way. If I don't lift the free weight, if I don't do this, then I'm gonna lose size, I'm gonna lose strength. Injuries, I'm not worried about it. No matter how much pain I'm in right now, just going to push through it, push past it, because I've got a goal I got to get to, getting ready for a show or whatever it was. That I just let ignorance kind of blind me to the idea of allowing things to heal. And that's kind of what I did with the cables there, was like, hey, I got to get in a quick workout today. Um, all the benches are kind of taken up, like the free weight area. All the is like swarmed with all the newbies over there by the dumbbells. The cables are empty. I'm going to jump on these. And it felt so good one week that I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it again this next week, to the point to where the pain started to go away. And I still felt like I was getting a great exercise, building size, getting good strength, getting great pumps out of it. That I was like, man, like this is being so effective without hurting myself, that I'm going to keep on pushing this way until my body says, okay, we gotta change this up. Or if I just go in and the cables are all taken up, okay, I'll go get a pump on some free weights until they become available, and just try to make sure that I lift smart while I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you should continue that because I found that too. Hell, I thought you might have already been doing it. That's why I never brought it up to you. But I think switching it up, we're actually gaining because, and it's not so much of just protecting the joints. Yes, we're doing that in the process, but I think that let's say that you weren't going through that. I think we should have switched it up anyway because our bodies were so used to the repetitive. And yes, and all we were doing is getting slightly bigger and maintaining, godliness. But no, at the end of the day, though, switching it up when I found that huge pump, like you said, I was like, okay, you know how you get like a massive pump and you're just like, yeah, that's it right there, from free weights. I had the same effect and I'm like, nah, this can't work like this though. Mentally, I was thinking, nah, yeah, I was thinking if that was the case, hell, I'd have been doing this for, whatever. But no, but then I realized that I am getting that same effect, but it's just because I've already built my muscles up for that. Somebody else starting out, they would feel a pump, but they wouldn't grow from it. So we're actually doing ourselves a favor by doing it. So I think that, yeah, you should stick to the free weights and work hard, like you said, but not as often. And let's just see where it goes. And then competition time, we'll make a decision to just stick to free weights or vice versa. This is just right now because we're on off season coasting, whatever. But yeah,
Well, I
go
think
ahead.
not just that, it's the constant tension to where you don't have to lift as heavy, to where you can keep a constant tension there on the muscle, so you can get that growth, you can get that stimulation. You can get that stress on the muscle without having to say, okay, I've got to throw on another 5, 10 pounds onto this curl or this press down or something, because you're able to keep, as long as you keep your body positioned properly, you're keeping that constant tension on there. And so you're keeping that constant stress on the muscle.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see where you're getting at. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we have so much knowledge too that sometimes I end up doing things that I didn't realize was a good thing sometimes. I guess it's just natural. I don't know. But like again, holding and squeezing certain times and stuff, and I'm like, damn, I got an extra pump. And I don't know. It maybe my body and my mind is just as a bodybuilder just saying, yeah, you need to do that. But then come to find out I was needed to be doing that shit anyway. But not that I didn't squeeze with free weights. I'm talking about machines, by the way. I'm not free weights. Yeah, I always squeeze and all that. But machines, I realized that, yeah, you need to do the same thing. But that was just me. I'm sure you probably already knew that or whatever. But uh,
Well, yeah, it's just back in the day when we're at Golds, and since we're talking about arms, we'll just stick with it. doing even the preacher curl machine and the difference in, hey, when am I like, am I, squeezing with my hands on the way up and opening on the way down, making sure that I get kind of that like that bent wrist in there with it in order to put that extra stress on there
Yeah.
to put the muscle in the proper place. And then even, you know, there's so much bad form on things that it's I don't know how to get my body to do it to even demonstrate it, but even seeing some people curl and making sure that everything's nice and in line there, making sure the biceps in line with the shoulder. So now you're not putting extra stress there on the shoulder and making it a bigger part of the lift and really making sure that it's the bicep that you're putting the stress on. Um, and I think that's a lot of the things that we tinkered around with machines for some of those like specialized things like the cable or the preacher curls and things like that. But really come to find out, like maybe we didn't know as much back then, but our body was just telling us it was the right thing to do to, hey, make sure you open your hands on the way down, squeeze them on the way up, get that extra like bend there in your wrist to put some extra tension on, like
Yeah.
just simple things like that
It was a natural feel. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah. And we felt it when you started doing the open palm thing and stuff, and then and I was doing it, it felt like you're supposed to do it that way. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, our brains just connected that way. And also we did that at the end of our workouts. We were, you know what I mean? So now that I've switched it up, not fully, but I'm doing more of it. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, and again, this is just a coast. Obviously, I'm going to go back to just doing straight free weights. But when I'm coasting off season, I'm just getting a great pump. I'm working hard, and yeah, just because I also want my body to recover from, weeks of punishment. So of course, I'm going to lighten it up. But
And I think that's
yeah,
where a lot of the newcomers don't really understand is, the cycling and making sure that, hey, you have your periods of heavy lifting and things like that, but then also having your deload time there to make sure that you're not just constantly pounding the joints, putting all this excess stress there on the muscle because, yeah, that's what helps you grow and everything. But you also have to give it that time to rest, recover, make sure that you're using lighter weight, make sure that you're using higher reps, maybe cutting down on the volume altogether to make sure that you're giving your body the chance to have more of an active rest while you're still being productive there in the gym and not hitting as hard, but also just to kind of give that cortisol the chance to come down and just not feel crappy like, oh man, I'm going to the gym again. Like, I feel awful. My body feels like it's been put through a meat grinder, and it doesn't feel like it gets any better because people just think you got to go heavy, 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 heavy. And it's funny because I got done with a exercise physiology class not too long ago for my degree, and just some of the light bulbs that were going off in our discussion posts in people's heads because they're like, oh, I didn't realize this or I didn't know this because the professor is guiding the topic with the discussion prompts and things like that. It's stuff that was like secondhand nature to you and I, and people are like, oh yeah, I shouldn't lift heavy all the time, or I shouldn't do all this time, or I can do this to be more effective. Like I don't have to go do hours of cardio. I can make sure that I'm doing some calisthenics, some explosive movements, and I can burn a lot of calories that way. And maybe I take an extra 15 minutes to do something like that. And I'm being a lot more productive than going and walking on a treadmill for X amount of hours and still helping yourself as far as building muscle, building strength, explosive power, and stuff like that.
right, absolutely. Try to turn your phone real quick. I want to see something. Can you turn it long ways? Ah, there you go. Yeah. All right. Um, so at the
Now
end of the what?
now my head's cut off.
Oh shit.
I sit on the floor, Indian
God.
style.
Oh shit. Listen, so at the end of the day, damn Johnny Bravo. All right, listen. At the end of the day, though, you're absolutely right. The thing is, we put our bodies through that. We already experimented with our bodies, so it just came natural. Okay, we need to recover. We need to take off or whatever. And the main thing I used to do, and I'm sure you did too, was we have muscle dysmorphia, meaning, it's like, oh, we got to get bigger, right? So at the end of the day, though, I don't mentally have that anymore because it was always a fear of, oh, if we do recover, we're going to get smaller. Nah, man, as long as you're eating your protein, as long as you're maintaining a great diet, you're going to maintain that muscle. Just recover. Take a few days off, but make sure you always do cardio. Don't never take cardio out, but you don't have to. You could take 3 days off if you really need it. You're not going to get small as long as you're eating and keeping your meals up and doing your cardio. Of course, at least 30 minutes in the mornings or something. You're not going to lose anything in 3 days. So I learned that, yeah, taking off is actually better because then when I go back in, I'm stronger and I'm bigger. It's like all I was doing is kind of hindering myself because I wasn't recovering properly. But that was then though, just an
Yeah,
example. Yeah.
exactly what I had to do after that last show was give myself some time off because I was so like focused. I got to get stage ready. I got to get stage ready. I got to get stage ready. That I wasn't taking days off. And even though you're like, hey man, quit trying to do so dang much, and I'm like,
Yeah.
mentally, like in in the recesses of my brain, I knew that was the right thing, but with my body dysmorphia, it was like, no, can't let you do that. We're gonna have to go in there and try to keep the same volume and try to keep the same weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Lift the house and tear some joints. Yeah, good. Yeah, well, you still look great, but yeah, next time we won't roll the dice on that though, because you're still going to look great regardless, and maybe even better. I'm thinking if you did take off, you would have looked even sharper, but it doesn't matter. You look great. But we'll dial it in the coming up because I'm going to do it with you. Anyway, let's get into this real quick, and then we'll for these people because remember, getting fit and talking shite. Um, so this whole thing going on since the beginning of this year, right? It's like a whole bunch of racism things and comedy. Stand-up comedians like, for instance, the Kevin Hart roast. I don't know. Did you see it or did you hear about it?
I definitely saw Cat Williams' part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to see what he was going to say too, based off of everything he said on Club Shay Shay. But it was pretty interesting. He definitely stuck to his word. But I know it was all for a roast. But I could tell that he meant that shit. Like, you know what I mean? And it was like, yeah, they're cool now. By the way, Kevin Hart just went on the Breakfast Club and explained, hey, listen, we're cool now. We've been cool for 8 months now, whatever. But it was what it was. But people they like to drag it out. And that's what I'm talking about. People getting on social media and making things to what it's not. And then like, for instance, Tony Hinchcliffe, right? You know who he is, comedian. Kill
I've
Tony.
I've heard the name, I've heard the title. I I couldn't tell you that I'm familiar with any of the work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's one of the most devastating roasters, like, and I mean he'll dig in. But he made a comment about George Floyd, a joke about
Oh
George
yeah,
Floyd.
I heard about it. I don't know what was said.
Yeah, yeah. Just basically that George Floyd is looking up at us and he's laughing so hard at these jokes that he can't breathe. Yeah, it was funny, but see, for me, being half black, I don't take offense to shit like that because I knew it was a roast and I knew why he was saying it. He didn't just get on, TikTok and start saying some shit like that. You know what I mean? He was doing a roast. He said, now was it tasteful? Probably not. Now, did he know he was going to offend people? Probably, but that's who he is what I'm saying. But he's not racist. He's just a comedian doing his thing. That's his material. And I wanted to get your opinion on something like that because this shit is going way out of control. And now they're trying to get Kevin Hart to apologize about some shit he didn't even say. He didn't say it was his roast. He produced it. But that's where the line draws. He can't control what everybody else on the platform does, their material. He doesn't have any control over that. But he also respects and knows what they're doing. But it's not his problem if somebody else gets offended. Now they're attacking Kevin Hart. What's your take?
So it's funny because, like I said, I haven't watched the whole thing. I watched the whole Cat Williams part, but I also heard that like there was some beef going on with Chelsea Handler or whatever her name is,
Mhm.
uh, with whatever comedian that was, the big heavy white guy, to where he got up and he said a bunch of stuff about her,
Mhm.
and she came
Sh-
out and started
Shane
saying all
Gillis. Yeah.
Jane Gillis, yeah. And then she kind of got up and started making jokes about how racist he is and things like that. And I don't know, man. It's kind of hard for me because I can't always exactly relate to what people have been through.
Hey, by the
Uh,
way, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to send one more link. We just need 10 more minutes. It's going to cut off on us. So do you want
yeah,
to
I'll,
say?
I'll keep this part quick. I can't always relate with what people have been through, so it's easy for me to kind of say, "Hey, suck it up." But I also feel like at the same time, you know, Chelsea Handler got handled and roasted. It was just easy to come out and say, "Oh, well, you're a racist." Like that's the whole thing of saying, well, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say, bounce off me and sticks to you.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, what's going on, you broke motherfuckers?
Let's get fucking big.
You don't know what you do.